Bitcoin just had an absolutely massive breakout. And it seems that right now, the bull market really might be back. I mean, after we saw a very juicy pullback, it seems the strength has recouped. It seems the bulls have continued on their journey to bring the prices higher. And nearly every single one of our expectations has now come to fruition, which is beautiful, but what's happening next? But before we talk about what's happening next, make sure you give this video a little like. You know, it doesn't cost you anything, but it helps out a ton. And even though crypto's pumping and I'm pretty happy already, that makes me even happier. But yeah, $45,000. We're almost there. We right now are at $44.7 thousand. Absolutely massive. Absolutely massive. We talked about this inverse head and shoulder pattern. We talked about this ascending triangle. We talked about the CME gaps, but I'll quickly explain again. CME gaps are the gaps in price that occur over the weekend as these futures don't trade in the weekends, right? And what is often said is that those gaps need to be filled. Now, we saw a massive gap here back in December, another pretty massive gap here. This is the beginning of December. This is the end of December. And my own personal opinion, like I stated on the channel, was that those two will be filled. And what filling means is that the price goes back. Make sure that anybody that had an order or an idea at that point gets to that, gets in, and then moves on as it was already doing. So it's like a correction of sorts that's more predictable. Hence my buy target, the point where I was opening crazy amounts of longs, as I described to you guys, was 39.6 thousand. And honestly, you could have actually gotten a little juicier of an entry at 38.5, but I think 39.6, my entry was pretty good enough. But we then also noted, hey, this is a pretty massive correction in terms of percentages. The mean or the median, actually, I think both are quite similar here. Correction in the bull market is, let's say, 33%, perhaps a little bit lower. And that would have been $33,000 per Bitcoin here, which was our worst case scenario if things were to continue pushing down. But we estimated the probability of pushing upwards as way higher. And our initial target would then be right here at roughly 44,000 as an initial barrier that we got rejected at before now pushing even higher. Or in simpler terms, if you want a way cleaner chart, an easy looking one, this is what it looks like. There was just a top that we hit so many previous times. Here's also that inverse head and shoulder pattern playing out again. And again, from that, we expected things to blow up. I think the last chart I posted on Twitter was this one right here with a symmetrical triangle. Some people were charting it a bit more like this, a little bit less optimistic than in my case, but still the result was the same, and you can see how it played out. Now, in a second, I'll also talk about some altcoins, because I noticed a lot of you guys actually like to hear my thoughts on altcoins, as sometimes they are way easier to trade. I will also say that usually Chinese New Year, which is about now, and the days surrounding it are often very volatile for crypto, even though from personal experience, a lot of my friends take off during this time, the price usually does go up slightly before. And side note, I found a new exchange for you guys that it seems all of my friends are using right now, that as of this point, if you use the link down below, you can use anywhere. And I'm trying to set up a couple cool competitions for you guys to win either some big money or some cool gifts. You guys need to let me know down below what you want to win. You just want a cash prize, or do you want some iPhones or Rolex or something funny? But I'd say that Deepcoin right now is one of the most trendy exchanges, relatively new, but very well known in my circles at least. I know a lot of you guys have been wondering, Dusty, you always trade on this exchange or that exchange, I can't use it. This one, everyone will be able to use. Check it out with the link down below. To add a little bit as to why this is all happening, by the way, I think part of it has to do with the fact that Grayscale has stopped their dumping. And so it's becoming more and more clear that the ETF providers are not here only to unload their Bitcoin upon us. No, but realistically, as was already expected, these guys are raking up more and more Bitcoin right now as we speak. And to me, that's very exciting. I'm not sure about you guys, but the fact that BlackRock and all these guys are vouching for it, I think is reflecting back on the prices now. You could also just say that every single indicator was pointing towards a breakout towards the upside. And now that we've seen it, because we basically hit some of our targets, right? I know this was an area of mass liquidations. We'll talk about that in just a second, but most of the indicators were pinging, hey, the moment this barrier here, roughly 43.5 gets crossed, it's going to be a pretty quick move. That move was expected to end at roughly 45,000, which is where we're facing some resistance right now. And I think a lot of altcoins here, for example, Solana, are facing a resistance in a similar sort of way. But right now, Solana is trading exactly at its resistance. 𝗂𝗃 just entered a very interesting trading range. And Arbitrum, after breaking out, again, is right now facing these similar prices as we've seen a little bit over a week ago. And here's a chart, for example, from a few days ago. I don't think think I've refreshed this just quite yet. And what I said in our previous video, and I've been stating over on Twitter, is that once either of these sides break, either 42 or 43.5-ish, it's going to be a pretty quick move because of massive liquidation events. And if I were to refresh this right now, you'd see that the exact thing that I described over the last few days has happened. As you can see, a lot of liquidity has been taken out here, and the move was pretty massive the moment we spiked above 43.5 thousand. It was a pretty quick move all the way towards 45. Now, in terms of new trades, one of the things we're going to be looking for is some more confirmation of this inverse head and shoulder. So the moment that we, for example, go back and trade within this range, $43.5 thousand, that we just described as one of the most important levels, I could actually be opening yet another, or potentially add to the long positions that we've got, because this seems like a juicy support to bounce from and catch some massive upside waves from. Again, how this structure often looks is that you've got a neckline, two shoulders, and a head. And very often, the breakout, even though often you see a retest of the neckline, is as large as the neckline to the head, which in this case here would be roughly a move towards what? $48,000 per Bitcoin, which would pretty much signal these previous high points. So to summarize here, even though for altcoins, we're in a pretty scary area where a lot of take profits are being hit, a lot of targets are being met right now as we speak. And for Bitcoin, on some patterns, indeed, we are close to the take profit levels. I will add, if we get a slight correction, or say a slight little pullback of sorts, potentially to the beginning of some of these structures, because we've got so many confirmations on such many different levels and such many different indicators and charts. Anyways, the consolidation is over. This sideways trading is finally past. So right now we've got to make a new decision. We've got to make a new move. Since we are in price territory we've not seen too often, things could be moving really quickly here. If we do see a slight pullback, I will be looking to open some new juicy long positions to hopefully catch that wave upwards. It seems more and more unlikely that we see our max correction of 33,000. If you do want to follow my trades automatically, if you've got an account on OKX or you've used the link down below, you can actually find my trading bot here over on OKX, the one that basically just follows my bot strategy over on here. You can see the performance of it. You can see how it's been doing. In my opinion, not too amazing because there's not really any money in it, but you can see it's up roughly $150 on a $2,000 account over what, the last 2 weeks or so. But the idea obviously is to really compound heavily with this, and it's the safest strategy I've got. You don't need a bot for it, but it just makes things easier, by the way. On BitGet, my bots are significantly more aggressive. As you can see, they're in a lot more profit, even though they're worth a lot less. This, for example, is a $400 account, and we're in $40 worth of profit. A $200 account, $20 worth of profit, and a $420 account in $60 worth of profit. And then our Bybit trading bots, which I cannot recommend you guys to follow because these would really suck if the prices move hard down, but they're in 25%, 18%, and 20% worth of profit. I've opened all of these with you guys here. I've shown you how to do it. It's all pretty simple, but yeah, that's a little update on my positions right now. Like I said though, if you're just looking for an exchange to trade on like we are doing here, I can recommend you guys to check out the platform DeepCoin. I'll be talking about it a lot more on the channel soon because it's just one of the easier places to trade on that a lot of my friends are using because you can use it everywhere. Again, if you use the link down below, you can use it everywhere. Anybody can use it, which makes things so much simpler. OKX and a couple of other exchanges have more limitations, and especially if you're trading from countries which usually don't allow you, this might be very nice. Yeah, just check it out with the link down below, and I'll see you guys again in another crypto video from now on, most likely every single day.